Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Touch Uncensored. It's so good to be here, done with the World Cup. Oh, what a journey it has been. And for those who travel to the US, you rate it. You rate this World Cup versus the 2010. I'm saying the 2010 still, not because I'm South African, because I was there. I genuinely think there are things we can teach the rest of the world in how to host the World Cup. But listen, congratulations to Spain. It makes life easier when you travel to a country where they've considered making it a visa-free for South Africans. I love Spain. I love the Prime Minister of Spain. I love the paella. I love everything about Spain. The people, Barcelona. One of my favorite restaurants, Botafamida, which is, Botafamida, by the way, if you Google it, it's been one of the #1 restaurant in Barcelona for a long time. They play the whole Spanish guitar, depending on what champagne you drink, how nice you are to the rest of the staff. It's just a beautiful place. When I go to anywhere in Europe, the only place I feel home, Spain and Italy. There's something about the greeting, the affectionate Italians, the hug, arrivederci. It's the drip. Oh, man, it's beautiful. Congrats to Spain, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, we're having an amazing conversation. I want everybody to understand I do not do guessing games. I do not do it. I didn't build 23 years of broadcasting, by the way. It's been a minute. Yeah, 2 decades and 3 years doing what I do. I didn't build all of this playing the guessing game, clickbait. No. I'm here to break the news. And this is factual. This will be the last episode if what I'm telling you right now turns out to be false. Because I believe news have to be accurate. When you take the opportunity or the responsibility to broadcast information, be accurate. Be accurate, okay? There are things from an editorial ethical code we have to respect. And one is shy away from fake news. You know how many media platforms built their repertoire around just get it out. Nobody cares if it's true. Just get it out. Yeah, I'm the first to post. Everybody wants to rush being the first to post, and they do not care about the ethical conduct that goes with being factual. Why am I building all of this tutorial around broadcasting? It's because I'm breaking the news. The mighty Bafana Bafana's new coach, even though nobody has said it, Safa is not telling us, nobody's publicly saying it, but I'm going to do it. Do not question my source. I'm going to do it. And I don't work with, I have a source here and there. I know everything. Am I God? No. I'm made in his image. I might as well be in his likelihood, in his likeness. Pardon me. I'm here to tell you, factually, there can only be, if news breaks out, or you verify what I'm about to tell you, and you challenge me, you dare challenge my assertion, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that Mosimane is the brand new coach. I use the word brand new. I'm just obsessed with the man. I love this brother. I love him. There can only be one man, and he is the new coach of Bafana Bafana. You didn't hear this from Safa. You didn't hear this. You're hearing it for the first time right here. It's called Touch Uncensored, meaning please break the walls and barriers of accessing the truth and information. I'm not here to be politically correct. I'm here to be truthful. Mosimane is the most eligible candidate before you heard the news. It's the coach we wanted. But now it's the coach we have. Why? Because I like him. Don't you like him? I mean, Zidane is considered to be the new coach of France. Patriotism. Let's bring it back home. And this has got nothing to do with, hey, empower black. No. Mosimane earned it, okay? When you leave your home and demonstrate excellence in unfamiliar territories, like he did with Al Ahly, he did in other, Mosimane is that guy. He is the coach of Bafana Bafana. Yes, I said it. Happy Sunday, happy Monday, Tuesday, whatever day you're seeing this. I don't know when they're going to have their own press conference, when they're going to break the news, but you should give me a horn right now. I just gave it to you for free. Congratulations to the new coach of Bafana Bafana, Tbo Mosimane. We are so happy. By the way, he's going to change his number from, I think the appointment will be, the current coach's contract ends on the 28th or end of this month, whatever day it is, okay? I can guarantee you, soon as he assumes the role of being the new coach of Bafana Bafana, he's changing his number. He's changing his number. And I got the new number that he doesn't have yet. I have that. I have Tbo Mosimane's new number. You know, when you elevate in a position of power or you ascend to new roles, you can't keep the same number. Well, maybe you do, but you got to have a new number. You know, no new friends, but new number is very important. And that is the reality with Bafana Bafana. Congrats. I think they moved up to 4 positions or 6 positions. They moved up. They done came up. Shut out. Congrats. Hello? We got a new coach who we can talk to and express our frustration in Zulu, Sotho, Pedi, Tonga. You choose. But we've got our very own. And shout out, we flying the flag high. This is demonstration of flying the flag high. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. You have your new coach. Am I going to interview him? No. I'm going to call him. I'm going to call him, invite him over to the house, congratulate him. We might have a nice braai. You know, it's always good when somebody progresses or make significant inroads or grow in their field of code of work or whatever it is. You have to congratulate. It's an African thing. We might have to slaughter, I don't know what it is. It could be a chicken. We don't know. Goat, I don't know. I don't know what's appropriate, but there's got to be a celebration to welcome the man in the new office that has a lot of, I mean, SAFA is not the most perfect institution. We know that. We know that. Given the recent press conference, did you see what happened? This is the president of SAFA. The president of SAFA had an engagement with the media. He just got back from the World Cup, and this is what gets me. This is what gets me, okay? When you sit at the helm of an organization as South African Football Association, you got to understand you do not have a day off, especially during the World Cup season. Now, you just got back from the World Cup, like everybody did. There's nothing special to it. All people went to go see the World Cup. Fans, executives, corporate sponsors, everybody had a fair shot of watching at least one game, or if not, we all watched it on TV. We all saw it, okay? You have the responsibility to always account. So when you engage the media and you are confronted by a world-renowned journalist asking you questions, you're not supposed to be emotional. You're not supposed to be. Unto him who much is given, much is required. There's a certain level of temperance you express when you are dealing with questions from the media. You gotta be level-headed. Now, this particular engagement got me thinking, maybe you should watch it. Maybe let's watch this clip so you understand what I'm talking about, okay? I am very respectful of authority. I understand protocol. I respect it. But I also understand what it means when you assume a role of being the president of an organization as SAFA. You're going to deal with the media on a day-to-day, if not when there's significant news to break. Now, we are excited to welcome you back, Mr. President. Hey, welcome back, okay? We got questions for you, and one of them is the one I just broke news on. Who is the next the Bafana Bafana coach? How is that offensive? But check this video out. Watch this.
The technical team makes a recommendation to the national executive. The national executive finally decides on the coach. So you cannot stop me in the street and hijack a decision. It's not going to happen.
We're not having a decision, Dr. Vian. I think South Africa deserves to know where we stand right now.
South Africa must wait.
Yes, we are
South
waiting.
Africa must understand The World Cup ended just yesterday.
I think maybe there's confusion because we come back, then we told said Bruce was still employed, then we had that. Maybe the clarity that we're seeking, sir.
You have your answer then. Why are you asking me?
It's just for clarity.
Don't interrupt when I'm talking.
Okay, apologies.
No, you're out of order. And you must behave yourself.
But you have to ask the question, sir.
No, you can ask your question, but I just told you. We're having processes and things that must happen.
Right.
So you must wait.
Yeah. So, maybe President, what is the timeline?
We are going to. I just told you. I arrived in the country yesterday from the World Cup. I did not even meet anybody from SAFA. But you want the timeline?
What about the elections, Mr. President? Can you confirm your constitution?
No. Ask those who are interested in the election.
This idea of telling journalists you've just arrived, that's first of all, Zizi Kotwa, you started a problem. You cannot tell me your office shuts down because of the World Cup. 2, we don't live in that world anymore. You can no longer make excuses like, oh, I just arrived. I landed yesterday from overseas. No. The internet has now become one room. There's no such thing as overseas anymore. That is Stone Age articulation. 1, I'll tell you why. You do not. The idea of telling people that they're out of order. You see, that political, that's what you will, Lutuli House, old way of putting journalists in their place. Hey, you are out of order. No. Not when your office is in disorder. Let's start there. Firstly, I genuinely think this is a time where you reflect and say, I've served this organization diligently, and maybe traveling this long, and by the way, I'm pretty convinced that the president of SAFA has to travel comfortably. So you travel flatbed. Who does not? At that level, you have to travel flatbed. You fresh. You just landed. You fresh. You know when you travel flatbed, the reason why at an executive level, when you fly flatbed at an executive level, it's because when you land, you hit the ground running. There's no room for you to recover. You are working in the air. We got Wi-Fi on the plane. You know why? So the office doesn't shut down. And it's not like before the World Cup, we didn't know that Hugo Bross's contract is coming to an end. This conversation has been in the South Africans' lips since April. We knew the contract is ending in July. You don't need to have an imbizo or some committee's got to sit down. What I'm trying to say is the decision has long been made. Are there candidates? Probably shortlisted, but I just told you who the new SAFA president. Now, that conduct from the president of SAFA got me thinking, maybe this is the time for Sandile Zungu to assume the position. I'm just putting it out there. I'm putting it out there. I mean, he's ran Amazulu successfully. Why not? Change is inevitable. Hello? I don't have a God-given right to be sitting here and doing this forever. At some point, I'm going to go fishing in Salt Lake City or Sydney or in the Vaal River. There's going to come a time where the current president of SAFA has to admit that there's a way you respect your office by always stay tuned in. You cannot say somebody ambushed you in the middle of a street when you know for a fact, one, that is in the building and the journalist was very respectful. All he wants to know is, sir, upon arrival, are we going to hear the news breaking out? Because you have been communicating with your team. Your phone doesn't stop working because you're at the World Cup. You don't stop exchanging emails and conversation about the new coach. You know how important it is for us to have succession? We don't want to find out when Hugo Boss boards a flight back to Germany. We want to know right now. So you are fortunate to be watching this podcast because Peter Mosimane is your new coach. I told you that. And the reason I say this, Dr. Johnny Jordan, no disrespect to you, sir. What I do for the past 23 years, do you know you cannot blame on the idea of traveling. You cannot put traveling as an impediment to your office functioning. I land in New York. At 8 a.m. I'm at customs. 9 a.m. I'm in my hotel room, going live, working. I broadcast from anywhere in the world. I don't blame it on geographical location that, oh man, I just arrived. What has arrival got to do with executing your mandates to the public? It has nothing to do with that. Then let's not travel. If traveling delays from getting things done, let's stay home or let's allow the new SAFA president to assume the role. I think it's only fair. You've served us diligently since 2013. I want to check facts. I would like to believe since 2013. As a patriot, Bafana Bafana is close to my heart. I'm very good friends with some of the players. And former champions, the AFCON champions. Play golf with some of them. I love the brand. They give us hope. When they win, we win. So we need a winning executive team at SAFA. And it's only right to say, who's next? It's only right. And I'm not the guy to dethrone anybody in position of power, but I can tell when it's chai. When you blame travel, the fact that you've just traveled and you're tired, you need to relax and collect yourself. No, not in that position. We fly you flatbed. So wherever you land, you hit the ground running. And that goes out to any company that has an exco that is responsible, whether it's a parastatal or it's a private company. If you are a successful operation, you need to allow your executive members to fly flatbed. Because upon arrival, you will have a meeting that needs you to be level-headed. You will run into something that needs you to show that, you know what? I am here to execute my fiduciary duty as a director of a company or as a CEO, whatever it is. I'm edging. Fly your executives flatbed because it's important when I arrive anywhere. I can just switch my mic and go live from anywhere in the world. That's what I do. I've been doing it since 2004. There's never been a point when I travel anywhere in the world. I cannot hit the ground running. The other day I had to be in Italy and I had to host a show as an MC in front of Italian people in Venice, to be exact. And you know what? I landed in Venice. I was 1 hour from call time. But because I travel flatbed, my face doesn't look tired. There's certain things about flying flatbed. You gotta eat caviar if you gotta land and work. There's a reason why when they give you that hot towel on a plane 30 minutes before descent, that hot towel is not just to wipe you. You gotta pad yourself because when you arrive there, people expect you to be ready for action. So please, let's fly our executives flatbed. Okay? It's very important. You have to. And make sure the linen is right. You gotta make sure the linen is right. I'm gonna call out certain airlines. I don't understand how you charge premium when you do not have premium. There's a reason why you have first class, business class, premium economy, and economy. Now, when I fly economy, there's certain things I couldn't complain about because it's semi-paid for, we gave you a lift. We're helping you to get your destination. Premium economy, there's leg room. You know, leg room says, I can reflect on my problems and maybe enjoy the fact that I am in suspense now. I'm 33,000 above sea level. Let me enjoy the suspense for the next couple of hours. Business class say the Wi-Fi better be, it better work. The demeanor in business is different. Now, first class, you are home. You still at home. The sheets, the pillow. You know that it's not just goose down. It's you feel at home. It's an extension of your home. So when you fly, sir, and you go to the World Cup and you come back and you bump into journalists and they ask you questions, you gotta be fresh, like you just left your home. You know how it is, like you just left home, and you are ready for whatever interrogation. You don't blame it on traveling because you travel comfortable. I'm sure you do. But I'll tell you who's not comfortable. Do you have an uncle in your family who, unless he volunteers, don't ask him questions? You know, there are certain things we need to understand culturally. We all have that uncle when we have family gatherings or when we're in a public space. You gotta be mindful how you approach him. You gotta collect yourself. You gotta be watchful. Now, I didn't study law, but I do know a lot with the law, the study of law, or there are a lot of, firstly, we need to have reformation in our judiciary. I'm pretty convinced there are certain barriers cultural barrier. You know, cultural barrier is real. You got people who only learn that when they go to a particular country or when they deal with particular group of people, that there is cultural misappropriation. Now, let me help you. The story that broke out and still stands out for me, I enjoyed this, and I'm pretty much sure everybody enjoyed watching this week. By the way, one of the biggest case around Mr. Joe Sibagnoni, we call him Joe Ferrari. This was a proper moment for us to learn. Culturally, we have a lot of work to do. Now, I don't know whose uncle this is, but I'm making a plea to the Minister of, what do you call it? Justice. Yes. Mama Loko Kubai. She's a golfer, by the way. I haven't seen you on a golf course. Where have you been? I don't think this new role is affording the Minister of Justice enough social life. The last I saw her, she was in what department? Whatever. It doesn't matter. What is more important right now is I witnessed, and everybody got this wrong. We were all laughing at this gentleman and his interpreter in court, and I think we need to admit we gotta decolonize the court systems. What are we on in South Africa? The Roman Dutch law. Yes, before it escapes my mind. We still, since 1652, there's a date for it, meaning there was something prior. You see, the conversation around colonization, why is important to thoroughly observe the landscape. There are still vestiges of colonization in places where we need to reform, we need to relook. You cannot, as a country that claims to be democratic and post-apartheid, we are fully decolonized. When the court systems, I mean, you're gonna look at a scenario where this is 101 true case study of why we have to reconsider or probably start the conversation of why we have to decolonize the court systems. And if you'll understand it, because cultural misappropriation, it's eminent everywhere. And if you do not understand, when you deal with a group of people, you study them. When you go in, if I visit My friends, probably they'd say, I visit my friends who aren't culturally inclined or who don't share the same cultural values as me. I study them. I'm like, okay, we visited this Italian family. Who are they? You understand them because you are going in their territory. You learn people. And that's why the study of anthropology is very, very important. If you don't understand that people culturally behave a certain way, especially when subjected to questions that are so, first of all, you are under oath. And when you put Uncle Nathaniel, that's his name, Brabi, probably they call him Brabi, wherever he's from. Watch this scenario, okay? You need to understand that the reason I'm asking for decolonizing the court system, firstly, you don't talk to Brabi like that. You don't talk to Brabi. That's not how you somebody you will know. We have that uncle. He has to voluntarily, free-willingly share the information. Now, you're putting him in a box. What are you going to get? What do you expect to get when you subject a Zulu man? And by the way, Zulus, culturally, we are alpha males. All right? I'm Zulu when it's appropriate. By the way, my grandma is thoroughbred, pure Zulu. So I'm Zulu. It's in my blood. I can assume that too. My grandma, for real. From Greytown, Wanongoma, to be exact, excuse me. You do not expect a cordial conversation when you put a man in this position. This is why you got to understand African people. If the court system were to be culturally appropriate in how we talk, there's a way you approach power. There's a way you approach a man, a woman. There's a way we talk. When we sit around the bonfire and have conversations and we understand where we're coming from, but there's a way we need to have a different, even the court designs and like they just, the brown color, the court is a cold room. I can understand why Uncle Nathaniel is losing his mind. You will interpret it as being disrespectful. Because I got white friends that called me and said, he was so disrespectful. It is not disrespect. It is not disrespect. That's why white people need to have black friends, so we can explain to you. You see, it's good when you have, I urge every white person, if you're living in Africa, you gotta have a black friend so you can understand culturally. This is not disrespectful. This is how we talk. Now, we express ourselves different. If you immersed yourself in our culture, maybe you will understand why this conduct cannot be deemed disrespectful. Check out this clip.
Mr. Sibanyoni was shot twice in the stomach.
Uba uSibanyoni uye wadubuleka kabili la esuswini.
Lokho ngizwa ngayo ukuthi kayithiwa ngazi ukuthi wadubuleka kangaki.
It's the first time I heard.
I'm putting it to you.
I don't know how many times.
Those are the facts. You can accept that. He has 2 bullet wounds.
Udubuleka kabili.
Hayi angazi njengoba ngisho.
I'm putting it to you so you can just accept it.
Ngeke ngivuma into engayazi bengekho angisiwu doctor mina.
I won't agree with you. I'm not a doctor. I was not there.
You don't have to agree. I'm putting it to you. I'm telling you what happened is he was shot twice.
You see what I mean? Do you get it? Do you get it? He's not a doctor. He's not a doctor. That's not disrespect. Culturally, there's got to be a way. We need to take cognizance of the fact that, one, this man is wearing a beautiful tie. Let's be clear. He dressed up that day, and little did he know he's going to be in front of cameras. Little did he know. You know that's somebody's uncle? Upra Nathaniel, by the way, he is somebody's uncle. And you're putting him in a box, telling him how a 9mm versus a rifle. He's an expert in the field of security. He's not a doctor to understand how when a bullet enters or exits, wherever it is, he can't give you all those details. But one thing he does know is you are not going to subject him in saying things inappropriately. You got to respect the man. He stood on business, and that's what uncles do. Mainly it's uncles on your mother's side. It's uncles on the mother's side. I mean, study that. I mean, usually, the uncles on the dad's side, they always want to be politically correct. They, I don't know what it is with patriarchy, but they always want to have this. Let's leave the father's side. The uncles on the mother's side, you can tell he's somebody's uncle, and he knows his nephew and niece is going to be like, where ma? Uncle, what happened with you? He's standing on business. But moving forward, do you understand why it's important? As Africans, we need to find the most idiosyncratic conduct in courts or structure, how we feel. It's very important to what we say. Make me feel comfortable. Make me feel comfortable. I need to be, come right, come correct. Because if you culturally misunderstand, if you culturally misappropriate your conduct, you lost me completely. Now, it turned out it was trending throughout the week. Everybody was laughing at it. People are saying, no, he's out of line. That's not how you behave in court. He's not. That's not how he's an African. There's ways to approach somebody in my culture, especially on a matter that's sensitive. When you go in Lobola, you don't just go and say, hey, we're here to Lobola. That's Vulumlomo. There's a cultural way to engage the next party. You say, hey, some people, Vulumlomo can be a bottle of whiskey. It can be a certain amount of money. It's what we do culturally. You might sacrifice, you can take a sheep head and say, hey, we're still bringing the rest of the sheep, but here's the head. We want to start the conversation. You got to approach the man. Was he offered tea? Was he offered tea? The court systems will run efficiently if we handled matters the African way. Like, shut up, standing, just standing. You know how naked and vulnerable you feel when you're standing? Have you ever dealt with any interrogation or anybody? Have you been in the principal's office? You all went to school. When the principal calls you in the office, the first thing they say, sit down. You sit down. That's what we do. Shalapans. When you've transgressed someone or there's a matter of significance that needs to be discussed, you sit down. Even if I'm the perpetrator, you still give me a benefit of a doubt that, hey, I could be wrong in my misconduct. I don't know. You sit the man down. Now the uncle is standing. And he's interrogated. And he's got an interpreter. Shout out to the interpreter. Can we give that man an Oscar? The interpreter is the reason why we're having this conversation. That interpreter needs to be promoted to a judge. Give him a magistrate. I don't know how it works. I do not know. But that interpreter needs a promotion. He held it down. And boy, he gave us a show. He sure did. Get that interpreter. I need him on the show. I did say this is a monologue. We're not going to have guests. But there are some people who are cutting it to top 5. And the day I'm bringing a guest, it's going to be crazy. That interpreter deserves a raise. I don't know why. He's still in the... As of today, we have to change his role. It's got to be a magistrate. Did you see that? Let me play you this clip. Check this man out. This is an Oscar award-winning moment in the history of the justice system in South Africa.
Uthi ubusiza ukuthi manje ama-bullet ebedubula ehlangothini lakho ethuthula ke manje ngawo lama suspect nawe ke waqhubeka udubula.
Look at it.
My lord, mina ngikhathele manje nje.
My lord, I'm tired of this now.
Because sezinto eyi-1 siyalena lena le ngikhathele. I mean, akunala siyakhona la. I mean,
my lord, you are not going anywhere. Really, I'm tired about this.
Listen. This is how good the interpreter is. He's not just interpreting. He's emotionally immersed in the role. He's playing his character, and he's killing it more than the guy. The way this is why people who study linguistics will tell you, okay? I just like the way he, even emotionally, you will think he's tired. Look at the interpreter himself. The tone, the modulation. My lord, a white guy cannot do that. You can't say and we know what it means. And I'm not, listen, all my white friends, I know you're gonna call me after this. So what do you mean we can't do it? There are certain things that we cannot explain. There's no way Charles Webster could compile it in his dictionary. We can't. There are words that don't even exist. That level of performance by the interpreter is an epic Oscar moment. We need to salute that interpreter. If he said he's resigning as of this moment, he needs to go out with a bang, give that man a proper raise. Shout out. I'm telling you. A big shout out. Moving on to our next story, ladies and gentlemen. The mayor of New York, who once lived in South Africa for some time. Shout out, Mamdani. Yes, Mayor Mamdani of New York City is calling for Bibi Netanyahu. Bibi Benjamin Netanyahu. He's calling on Benjamin Netanyahu to be arrested at the ICC, the International Criminal Court. Again, back to the justice system. You see? You get it? You get it? Do you think the ICC, even if the mayor of New York, by the way, New York is their GDP is about 1.7 trillion GDP. 1.7 trillion. Israel's GDP is around 800 billion. So people are like, why should he call for Netanyahu's arrest? He's just the mayor. Oh, we remind him of his position. We want to remind him of his position. He's just the mayor. He's a mayor of a 1.8 trillion GDP. And he's calling on somebody who's half the whole country, Israel. He's saying Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested. This is the mayor of New York. It's not just any city. Now, if you told me that the mayor of Kinshasa is saying Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested, maybe let me not say Kinshasa because I'm on my way. My prayers for the people of Congo dealing with Ebola. Prayers, man, and we heard that it's now spreading into Uganda. I'm praying for you. Let's not talk about DRC because they're still my favorite soccer team with the way they dress to the World Cup. I love them. Shout out. You guys took it to the next level. All teams that are heading to the next World Cup, you better come correct. Your fashion has to be on point. If you do not win, at least win in the closet, win on the runway, give us something. Anyway, the mayor of New York, 1.7 trillion. Can you verify that? Husiami, please double check if I'm correct. Thank you. 1.7 trillion. I gotta know the GDP. I mean, listen, this is one of the largest GDP. New York has the largest GDP in a city in the world. So the man, he is, again, that uncle who's the breadwinner, his jokes are always funny. We're sitting around the table, the uncle who is the breadwinner. Disregard the fact that he has political views that aren't consistent with the majority of his constituency. I mean, New Yorkers are capitalist and he is socialist, as they label him. But that's how they label him. I don't know. That's not why I'm having this conversation. I'm talking about the latest. He is calling for the arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu. This is the New York mayor.
Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, the architect of a horrific genocide against the Palestinian people. He is responsible for the killing of more than 73,000 people, for the maiming of tens of thousands of children as those who survive undergo amputation without anesthesia, for the targeting of neonatal hospitals and maternity care centers, denying newborns even the chance to live. I agree with the ICC that Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested and tried for his crimes, as I do for anyone else charged by the ICC. My administration has reviewed every avenue available under applicable law to determine whether New York City could execute the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant if Benjamin Netanyahu came here. It is clear that we do not have the independent legal authority to enforce this warrant. The federal government, however, does, and I call on them to join the ICC and execute this warrant. And I want to be equally clear. Benjamin Netanyahu is not welcome in New York City, nor is any other war criminal at large. While we cannot end the genocide on our own, we can decide whether our silence will become another weapon.
Oh, let's see. New York's highest grossing demand. Yeah, but the current is 1.8 trillion. I'm exact with that one. You see, the thing about the United Nations, the way it's structured, to have veto rights or veto power, whatever you call it, to have the veto power, it's not based on your the governance and how well you run the country, the level of transparency and human rights and preserving of human rights and protection of children. No, it's not about that. He who assumes the veto powers at the UN is based on the size of their pocket. It's based on the size of the pocket. So when you hear African countries calling for Benjamin Netanyahu's arrest, it's not going to happen. You don't have enough capital to make the biggest noise. The world has shown the superpowers decide. You know, it is really sad when the pleasure of a man is dictated by who pays him. Think about that. That's the world we live in. We can meet at the African Union, say what we want, come to a conclusion about whatever globally. It means, yeah, we hear you. We are like a grain. I generally feel if the mayor of New York is going to be consistent, echoing what the rest of the African leaders have been saying, maybe the spark will cause the combustion. But until then, we don't have enough pocket. We do not. We do not. We've now evolved as a people, back to the study of anthropology. We've seen how the world runs. Let's not be delusional. Let's not be delusional. It's gonna take it's gonna take the superpowers, China, Germany, Japan, those are the top 5 GDPs worldwide, to all come to a to collectively agree. That's the only time you're going to effect change. Remember, BRICS gave us hope. It did, to say, okay, the amalgamation of these nations, if they come together, they stand to be a 40% superpower. And I'm saying this with all respect. I've seen our African leaders when they go to the United Nations. It's just a trip to fly your cabinet members, go shopping on Fifth Avenue, and enjoy the skyline. Enjoy, I don't know. When you're sitting there and you're on the podium at the UN, really, do we still have statesmen who's, I don't know. I'm saying this very conflicted because as an African, I wish I could live in an era where we are true to the reality of how the world views Africa and what type of power probably we need to assume for ourselves. Maybe we need to shut the continent down and have a closed, to say to the rest of the world, we are going on a sabbatical as a continent. We're going on a sabbatical of self-identity. We're looking for ourselves. We will come back to you after understanding the power of our minerals, after understanding the power of cognitive, what we're sitting on. We need to withdraw from the rest of the world. And the reason why I'm proposing this, okay? Let's go to what happened this week. Ibrahim Traore seems to have the blueprint of possibly what this closed continent, what this sabbatical could mean. Can you imagine if Africa said, hey, the rest of the world, don't invite us to Davos. We're not coming to the World Economic Summit. We are not coming to the United Nations. If Africa said that, if Africa said, we are not participating with global economy, we're not participating with global politics, we're taking a 1 year off. 1 year off. No African president is traveling anywhere in the world. We are on a sabbatical, okay? We taking time off. Like Christians, you know, when I go on fasting and pray and I take time off, let's say it's 2-3 days fasting. When I go back to normal programming, when I go back with more power, vivaciously. I'm different. I am filled with new energy. A level of discernment is on its ultimate high. That's why it's important to go fasting. You cannot have everything every day and think you can operate at your optimum level. It doesn't work like that. Africa needs to go on fasting. We need to go on a fast. We need to tell the world and say, no trading. We don't want no oil. We don't want no minerals right now. We are on a fast. And maybe after this fast, we might come out different. We might view ourselves different. We might feel different about us. Nothing is going to help relook or have a proper introspection of who we are. Nobody's going to endorse. Nobody's going to give you any value. You know, when you talk about the world grading, oh, we've been upgraded. We are now on a gray listing. We're now on this list. The IMF says, we are good boys. We are paying back our loan to the World Bank. All of this is in, going out. In, going out. It's the system is not sustainable to function this way. Probably to understand our true value, we need to propose a closed economy. A closed economy. And say we are now from a macroeconomic scale, we are now dealing with just from Libya, Tunisia to South Africa. We are proposing an internal stokvel. Yes. And in turn, we are proposing a closed economy on a continental base for a year. It's going to hurt, but you're going to come out different because nothing worth having doesn't come without a fight. It's going to hurt. But you know, sometimes after friction, there's liberation. It's going to hurt. But you know, the best of you normally comes out of pain. You can't release the power inside of you if you don't go through all that type of pain. It's going to hurt. Yes. When you give birth to something, it's not pleasant. It's gonna hurt. It should hurt. Maybe that's what we need for a true introspection. Because what Ibrahim Traore is proposing is there's merits in what the man is saying. There's merits in, check this clip, check what this is recent, by the way. Ibrahim Traore has a better plan, is laying the blueprint. Is he right? Is he wrong? I don't know. I am conveying the message. I'm the messenger. Take heed into it. Choose or not to. But check this out.
Hey, Africans, are we not going to wake up? Can't we work for ourselves and then feed ourselves and continue consuming what comes from elsewhere without even knowing what is inside? We saw the scandal with Nestle, Nido, and others there. The milk they sell over there is not the same as what they sell in Africa and all. Many countries come to see us for their NGOs. I said, but wait, what's going on? We have our dignity to defend. There are things we no longer accept. Go on, give elsewhere. We don't want your aid. We will not accept it, because all this is to keep us down and to be able to properly pillage our resources.
What am I saying? What I'm saying is, it is really sad if your value is dictated to by people who only take from you. You know, some people, they see you meaningful or they see you useful as long as they can take from you. Now, Africa has been that continent whose value is determined by how much you can extract from. There's no way. I don't see it happening in the next 30 years. I've been in this world long enough. I'm probably not the most wise. I'm not saying I have the answer to it, but I can tell you, when I observe as an African what has been taken out of this continent and what it has done to the rest of the world, how Africa built Europe, the West, and the rest of the world, and you look at us, look in the state of just look at the quality of living in this continent. If it's true, there's so much wealth in this continent, why does it need us to be affirmed by other worlds, by other parts of the world? Why does it take the West? Why does it take Europe? Which country in Africa has a currency that can go toe to toe? Which country in this continent can go toe to toe with any of their who is extracting from this continent? If generally our minerals are of value, anything is of value, surely there's gotta be a way we meet each other on par. There's got to be a way. Now, I would like to believe, I'm convinced, if we proposed a closed economy as a continent and saying, please, can we be excused? We say it nicely. And the question is, who do we send to the rest of the world? Because there's got to be a messenger. Which head of state in the continent can be the spokesperson of Africa to say, hey, Africa is taking time off. We're taking time off. And that spokesperson cannot be bought. We need a spokesperson because sometimes the messenger, we're humans. We're mere mortals. You can contaminate the messenger and cause him to go back and deliver according to the superpower. We need somebody who's very firm and is not easily swayed, or you cannot change. We need someone. I'm trying to think of a leader we can send as a spokesperson. If Africa was to have a spokesperson, which president? I don't want to be biased. I don't want you to say, oh, he's going for Cyril Ramaphosa because he's South African. No. But do you remember 2 years ago when the president of South Africa told the rest of the world, it was in 2022. No, it was in 2022. Yes. He told the rest of the world, and they were all leaders in one room. And he said, you treat us like those family members who eat after everybody has eaten. We're tired of eating what's falling off the table. I'm going to try and get that clip. It's one of the most profound moments in the history of Africa.
I played a key role as chair of the African Union during the COVID period. We felt like we were beggars when it came to vaccine availability, when we felt we needed access to vaccines, and the Northern Hemisphere countries had bought all the vaccines in the world, and they were hogging them. And they didn't want to release them at the time when we needed them most. And we felt like we were begging. And at times it felt like they would just be droppings from the table, that yes, we will give you that and that. And let me tell you something that generated a lot of resentment. We resented that, and it got worse when we said we want to manufacture our own vaccines. And when we went to the WTO, there was a lot of resistance, enormous resistance. And we kept saying, what is more important, life or profits by your big pharmaceutical companies? And that too, I must tell you now, generated and deepened that disappointment and resentment on our part, because we felt like life in the Northern Hemisphere is much more important than life in the global South.
To hear from a leader standing firmly, speaking the truth, confronting. At that point, we risked the dollar quadrupling against the rand. At that point, we risked global trade with South Africa. This was a defining moment as a leader to tell the world, you better check yourself when you deal with me. This moment, this is one of the most proudest moments I heard. I'm sorry I'm not quoting other heads of state. I'm trying to be as neutral as possible. But I do not remember I'm trying to think in my head, maybe Paul Kagame. Ideas are coming into mind as I'm speaking of who is the most eligible leader to speak on behalf of Africa. And I'm taking history. I'm borrowing from history to qualify my opinion. I'm not thumb-sucking this. Which African country took Israel to court? I'll wait. Before you go on bashing, which African country stood up firmly stood up? I'll wait. I'm here. This is facts. Remember, I told you at the opening of a show, we're not thumb-sucking information here. I need you to understand the bravery, the steadfastness that goes in being an African leader and telling the rest of the world how you can no longer stomach the injustice that's been demonstrated throughout history towards African people. Cyril Ramaphosa did it, knowing very well he stands a chance of being ostracized by the rest of the globe. But there are times in life a man must not just think with his belly, but he must uphold the principle that first define us as true stewards, servant of this powerful nation, knowing that there are fallen soldiers who fought for a particular cause, and we will be remiss if we think we got here to this part of life as a group of people, as Africans, if we think we got here simply because Europe and the rest of the world has always had Africa's interest at heart. No. We are valuable to the world based on what they can take from us. And that's the truth. This is the truth. Now, if that's the case, if we were to be scientific about it, if we are of that much value, we need an African Economic Summit that re-looks at our currencies, that re-looks at why we trading with the rest of the world with the most precious minerals at the rate they dictate. What is it that Africa dictates to the world? What is it? What is it? Instead, we consume, always consuming. This is what we do. You have African leaders that travel abroad, go spend hard-earned African money in Champs-Élysées, in other parts of the world where your coffee is 45 Rand. I'm just saying, there's a psychological shift. We need some paradigm shift to understand our true value to the rest of the world. But until such a time, we are over $1 trillion GDP as a continent. I don't know. Until such a time, probably as a collective. What will Africa's GDP be collectively if we were all to be a unified currency? Because being a superpower is not going to come from one country in Africa. It's not going to come from Morocco, South Africa, Nigeria. That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. The mayor of New York is saying Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested. This is what the rest of the African continent has been saying. Well, some African countries. They've been saying the same, but nothing has happened. Let's see where will it go if it's coming from a bigger GDP. That's all I'm raising, by the way. Where will it go? Let's see. Is it going to reach? Will it affect any change? Who sits at The Hague? Huh? It's not like we don't know where he is right now. We live in the internet. We know what's going on. We know what Benjamin Netanyahu is up to. We know. It's not like we don't know where he is. So when there's a warrant of arrest for a man, I mean, what's next? What's gonna happen next? And speaking of Africa as a continent, population is power, okay? Population with a plan. With a plan. I'm not saying let's bring babies to this world that we cannot look after, but population with a plan is power. As a world, as a continent, the more the merrier. If you don't believe what I'm saying, South Korea is paying $38,000. South Korea is paying $38,000 for couples to have more kids. South Korea is saying, please make more babies. We will pay you on your first date. We will pay you on your honeymoon. We'll pay you during your courtship. But just make babies. Make more babies. South Korea, this is breaking news. South Korea is paying $38,000. This is not a problem in Africa. This is not a problem where I'm from. South Korea is saying, please have more kids. Now, is South Korea trying, is it considering help? Or is this just for South Koreans? Because a lot of my African brothers that are watching will be happy to volunteer. I mean, have you seen South Korean products? Have you seen the skin? The best, dermatologically, the best products are South Korean products. Their skin look like porcelain tiles. Look at the skin. All I'm saying is, there are a lot of, you can get help from the east, southwest of Africa. You don't have to spend $38,000. I know a lot of brothers who will go for free. There's so much. We are fertile. We can't help it. It's who we are. It's how God made us. Check this out. South Korea is saying, we'll pay $38,000. Check this. I'm not making this up. $38,000. Do you know my Niger boys are on standby, ready to board the flight right now to South Korea for free? For free. Do not pay. They will do it. My Congolese brothers, I'm like, give us location, drop a pin. I'll be there. That's who we are. We are fertile. I got a lot, what? My Zulu brothers are on standby. They'll leave the spears down. We ready to go. It's a go. Why are you struggling? If you are, I do not know. I don't know. I've never been to South Korea. I look forward to going to Seoul. I'll travel to Seoul. Not for this agenda. I will go to Seoul. For my line of work, I get booked all over the world. Let's check this out.
The South Korean government has spent about 360 billion Canadian dollars to try and boost fertility rates, baby bonuses, tax breaks, even discounts on housing for couples who have a young child or might be expecting soon. In Incheon, newlyweds and young families only need to pay $1 a day to live in these apartments. The city subsidizes the rest. Then there's also the medical aid. South Korea covers up to 25 IVF cycles per childbirth, most of it completely paid for.
Do you understand? You can save that money. They've spent $600 billion. They've spent $600 billion till this day. $600 billion to help bring. Excuse me? Excuse me? Where my African brothers at? You don't. We eat okra. We drink maheu. We eat raw nuts. We ready to go. It is in our genes. It's who we are. We don't have this problem. Next time when you're watching this, or you're probably sitting at home and you're miserable with yourself, look at your family. Look at your kids. Be grateful. You were gifted with the ability to have children. There are people who need to be paid $38,000 to be in your position. God put you in your position for free. You don't have those problems. I don't know what it is with you that you look at your life and think, oh, I don't have it all together. South Korea has bigger problems than you that they cannot resolve. Money can't solve their problems. So as you watch this episode, I need you to be proud of yourself and say, how can I be of help? Pack your bags right now. Let's go save South Korea. I'm calling on all the men of this world, Africans to be exact. Help the people of South Korea to build their population. They need the next generation of the new players. The next World Cup, we got to see some mixed black players from South Korea. Maybe that's the only shot they have to advance to the 32 stage. But until then, it's so good to be African. It feels good to be South African. God bless this beautiful nation, and may God continue to bless you.